This is my bike, a 1998 Trek 6500. It originally sold for around $700, but I got it used for $50 off Craigslist. It's a solid bike and has endured 19 years of use and abuse. The chain might not have ever been changed because the sprocket and crankset teeth were worn and broken. After some research and watching a few YouTube videos, I set about replacing the crankset, sprocket, and chain. This was followed by new cables and a new front derailleur. I tore the front shocks apart, cleaned them, re-greased them, and put them back together. Finally, I replaced the stem with a shorter one I scavenged off another bike in an attempt to improve the geometry. The monkey bar was added by the previous owner. It's definitely old school and looks pretty rough, but it's the nicest bike I've ever had, and I have a blast riding it. My name's Nicholas. I live in northeast Georgia in a town called Toccoa. I have a wife and 3 sons, and we all ride together. Growing up, I wore the bearings out of my cheap Kmart bikes, but then cars, college, and kids pushed biking aside. Now that my boys are getting older, I've gotten back into riding, and I love it. Not only do I like riding bikes, I like working on them. It started when my boys were wearing out their bike tires and breaking parts. See, I go to a lot of different homes to do internet installation and repair for work. One day, I'm under a house and I see 5 bikes just rotting away. I need a wheel for my one son's bike, so I asked if I could have them. The owner was happy to have me haul them off. Then a neighborhood kid needed a tire, so we started Frankensteining bikes together. Pretty soon I was piecing bikes together for all the kids in the neighborhood. If a kid wants a bike, they do 10 chores, which can be for their family or for someone in the neighborhood, kind of a community service. 10 chores isn't much, but then most of these bikes are just Walmart castaways. I've also made some functional art out of bike parts. My bike days were almost ended though about 4 months ago. It was a beautiful Sunday. That morning I led worship at our church, followed by a great potluck lunch, and then riding with friends and family at Trail Creek Park in Athens, Georgia. It's a great little trail system that I have to give props to the Athens Sober Group for. We were just wrapping up when my 10-year-old son Isaiah and I wanted to hit the short intermediate advanced trail before we left, called Widespread. I'd been on it before, and it was a lot of fun. I started to follow my son, and I wish I knew the rest of the story. Maybe a gang of clowns jumped out from the bushes and attacked me. I don't know. No one saw what happened, and I don't remember. One minute I'm about to ride down a fun trail. The next thing I know, I'm in the hospital, looking like this. I had multiple abrasions and lacerations, several broken bones in my hand, wrist, and elbow, a broken sinus, and a traumatic brain injury. They stitched up my split lip and sent me home. They really shouldn't have sent me home, because a week later I was back in the ER with a life-threatening complication due to the brain injury. I spent 4 days in the ICU and many weeks recovering. Sorry, that's kind of a graphic image, but I'm all better now, and now I can blame all my screw-ups on brain damage. And you also know why I was wearing a full-face helmet in those videos. I made this video because Seth of Seth's Bike Hacks, link in the description below, is giving away a sweet bike. But as I made this video, I started to think maybe I'm not the one that should get it. Don't get me wrong, I would love to have a new awesome Diamondback. I'm not as confident as I used to be riding, and I think probably a new bike with nice new agile geometry would probably help. But the thing is, I have a bike and I don't really need a bike because it's really not that bad of a bike. And if I don't win, I'm just going to keep riding it and enjoying it. But hypothetically speaking, if I did win, that bike would get a ton of use. I'm almost 6'3", But I would choose a large frame rather than extra large because that would mean more people would get to ride it. Last fall was my oldest son Elijah's first year racing cross-country mountain bike. My middle son Isaiah will be old enough to race this year. And my youngest, well, he isn't too far behind either. Keeping them all on bikes is a pretty high priority. By the time they reach high school level, I'm sure they'll need bigger bikes. Meanwhile, the team they race for, the Habersham Raiders, is a non-profit NICA team that needs loaner bikes for kids to ride. And I would gladly share. So thanks, Seth, for making your videos, for inspiring us. It is not in vain.